when I was in college, I was finding every successful entrepreneur I could find, and how did you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you do it? And when I look back at what were some of those pivotal moments, in my life that really kind of set me up for success or helped me go down the right path instead of the wrong path. And most of it is not the things that are taught in school. And I'm not against schooling, and like there's a place for it. There's definitely a benefit in there. But I didn't learn how to listen to people in school. I didn't learn how to help people feel understood. I didn't learn how to deal with conflict between friends or family. I didn't learn how to negotiate in school. I didn't learn the importance of delayed gratification.
Welcome to The Roll Call, the podcast where we dive into the roles that define us. I'm your host, John Glahn. On each episode, we explore the journeys of people discovering their true roles in life, business, and beyond. Get ready for inspiring conversations about finding purpose and authenticity. Let's roll the roll call. Welcome to The Roll Call. I'm John Glahn. I have with me Nick Leja, portfolio entrepreneur, lots of different names we can go with that, transformational storyteller, writer, and quite frankly, I don't know what you can't do. I'm super excited to have you on the show. All are accounted for. Welcome to The Roll Call.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Talk me through your journey. How did you get into, so you have how many different businesses that aren't related? How many different businesses do you actually own?
I have like three different core pillars, I guess, if you will.
Sure.
Like I have a collection of retail businesses, a collection of home service businesses, and then a franchising business from a franchisor.
Yeah.
So kind of like three different pillars. And then there's different brands within those, but kind of three core pillars.
Awesome. And what got you into that?
Well, when I was a kid, probably in middle school, my dad gave me a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. And I learned about the cash flow quadrants, and I'm like, I want to be in the I quadrant. I want to go from the employee, self-employed, B-type business to the I quadrant. So that talked about the rat race, right? The rich dad and the poor dad, and the different paths. And I'm like, I don't really want to be in the rat race. I want to find something differently. So that really, from like super early on, got me keyed into, okay, I don't want to be trading my time for money forever. That's not the kind of game that I want to play. I want to get out of that rat race. And also, I was an avid reader. I still am an avid reader. When I was a kid, I read every single Goosebump book by R.L. Stein, all 62 of them. Loved them all. I loved reading, just getting lost in fantasy. And I really love writing. So I wrote a fantasy adventure book in high school, another one in college. And I really loved writing. So I'm like, okay, writing is my passion. Writing is what I really want to do. But making money as a creative author is very challenging. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, well, I don't want to go into that and constantly have the pressure of making money and paying my bills, because I've heard from other people that makes it hard to be creative when you're under the gun and have all those financial pressures. So it's like, okay, I'm going to follow the Rich Dad, Poor Dad thing, and I'm going to create a bunch of businesses, but I don't want to create businesses that I have to work 60 hours a week forever to do. I want to get them on autopilot and basically create some passive revenue, and then that way I can focus on my writing without having to worry about the pressures of money. So that was probably in high school. That was kind of when I crystallized on that goal. So that's why I got into businesses. It was ultimately to fuel my lifestyle while I write.
Wow, in high school.
Yep.
Wow. So how did you do that? What's the first one? What'd you do?
So when I graduated, I went to Kettering University in Flint, got my degree in electrical engineering. Mm-hmm. And immediately after that, I got into business with my mom actually as a franchise consultant. So I worked as a franchise consultant. And with that, we represent 200 to 300 different brands, different franchises. And what I did is I worked with people who wanted to become a business owner, wanted to leave corporate America and open up their own business. And I would try to match them with a few different brands that kind of met their financial goals, their lifestyle goals, their interests, whatever it was. So I got experience to a lot of different business opportunities through doing that. This was in the fall of 2008 during the Great Recession. So a lot of people were getting displaced from corporate America and they wanted to go into business for themselves. But unfortunately, just getting bank financing was tough. Right. 401k started getting compressed. So I wasn't very successful in that. But through that, I met John Chesney. He's the founder of Disc Replay. And I'm a huge video game nerd. I love video games. So I met that, and I really got to know Disc Replay to represent that brand, to kind of present it to others to open, but I just fell in love with that brand. So it was in July of 2009, about 9 months after I graduated, we opened up our first Disc Replay store in Flint.
Wow. Now how many do you
have? I have ownership in 14, and I'm also the franchisor now, and I think there's about like 38, 39 across the Midwest right now.
Wow. So Disc Replay, if I'm not mistaken, that's, again, video disc, and it's recycling of them, right? Or buying and
resale. Yep. Yeah. So we buy and sell movies, music, video games, electronics. We've branched off into collectibles like Pokemon cards and tons of different stuff. It's like every year we're taking on new product lines. We're evolving. We're growing. So it's not just us anymore.
That's where I was. That's where I was headed. Right? That's one of those. Not quite the the Blockbuster deal, but
Right.
that is a evolving. There's some dying of, but an evolution has to be, right?
Yep.
In order to keep reinventing.
Yeah, I mean, Disc Replay started off it was a used CD shop back in the day. I think it was like 20, 25 years ago when it started, and it was a used CD shop. And then eventually they got into these things called VHS tapes and DVD movies, and then video games. We only got into that not super long ago. Then electronics, and now collectibles, pop vinyls, Pokemon cards. So it just kind of seems to keep growing. There's always new stuff people are looking to buy and sell. So, and I'm personally, I love movies, I love video games, I love board games. So I'm into all the kind of stuff we buy and sell.
Awesome.
It's a super fun environment.
So how active were you in the business to start with?
Very active. Yep, I was open to close 7 days a week, and
Yeah, and then
running off caffeine.
Yeah, and then what that evolved, because I know the rest of some of the rest of the story, but like what you're intending to do, which was the passive income part.
Yes.
You don't start there. What's your role in that business today?
So we run EOS, and I'm what's called the visionary box.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the visionary for the brand. I'm not really involved in the day-to-day operations. We have an integrator who oversees everything. So I'm involved more in the strategic growth and the direction of it. But as far as the operating the businesses, I'm not really involved at this point.
Okay, so you're in the I spot, right?
Yes.
Yes. For that. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
How'd the rest of it evolve?
So I got into Disc Replay. We buy and sell video games, movies, electronics, and that was my first business. And I really love the retail business because it's somewhat Amazon resistant. It's harder to buy and sell a lot of things, especially more run-of-the-mill stuff, really expensive items you can buy and sell online. But for like a $2-3 game or something like that, it's just a bit more challenging. So I really like the retail industry, but I did want to diversify products. So I got into Plato's Closet, which is very similar. We buy and sell clothes and accessories. So my second business was a Plato's Closet in Flint in the same shopping center as the Disc Replay. So that was pretty good synergy there.
Right.
So I kept growing in those. I met business partners along the way, got in a few other things. My most recent one that I'm really excited for is Superior Fence and Rail. It's in the home services, so we install residential and commercial fences. And I just love that business. I read a lot from Warren Buffett. I read all of his letters to shareholders, and I love his philosophy on buying, looking for boring businesses that are not super flashy, not in the news. And to me, fencing, I mean, it's super fun now that I'm into it, but most people's like, oh, it's a fencing company, whatever. But it's like, it fits all the investment criteria. I love it. So fencing is kind of my first foray into home services, and I'll be looking to build some bolt-on. Maybe we might get into decking one day or irrigation or something. And then franchising is the latest one. So about 2 years ago, I bought the Disc Replay brand from John Chesney, who's been my business mentor, that guy that I mentioned that I met right after college and stuff like that. It was kind of a surreal moment. So me and a couple of partners, we bought the Disc Replay brand. So now my newest venture is franchising, being the franchisor.
Wow. Why?
I'm so passionate about Disc Replay. I have so many ideas for the brand. And I think John saw that and saw just my energy and passion and kind of wanted to hand me the reins and kind of pass the torch on to me to like really kind of grow up his brand. But for me, the reason I like it, because now my customer is a franchisor. It's not the customer shopping at the store. It's people who it's franchisees. And there's a lot of franchisor companies. I'm not saying everyone. There's some amazing franchisor companies. Superior Fence and Rail is one of them. That's a gold standard, the founder of that. I think he does a great job. But a lot of franchisor companies, they're looking to sell a bunch of units, collect a bunch of franchise fees. They don't care if they cannibalize the franchisees, flip it to private equity, and go right off into the sunset. I mean, that's just a harsh reality. And so you kind of have this franchisor v franchisee thing. John Chesney's philosophy, Superior Fence and Rail, even Winmark with Plato's, it's a lot more franchisee focused. So I am laser focused on helping people achieve what I've achieved. People who want to get out of the rat race, who want to open up a business with a proven model, and I want to really set them up for success. I'm not looking to flip the business at all anytime in the near future. We're not looking to cannibalize franchisees. And to me, that's like incredibly fulfilling, the lifestyle that I've afforded, like really through John's mentorship and other mentors. So to be able to then help other people achieve that dream through Disc Replay, it's just like a dream come true. So so I'm super excited because I think we're creating something just really kind of unique in the franchising space. So
you don't hear of that part much, right? Because you called it, right? There's the franchisors that have been wildly successful, that have done it the right way. And again, generally the selling point is to PE or someone else to go do something else with it who probably potentially ruin it or whatever. It's not often you hear about anyway. Someone with passion buying it over and taking it over because again, and I don't know John Chesney at all, but sometimes businesses hit the ceiling based upon who is running, again. whether real or imagined, it's hit their ceiling based on who is there. And it takes, and we talk a lot about passion and those that have passion in the business, what can happen in the business when that happens.
Yep.
So that's really interesting. So when did that actually happen?
It was about 2 years ago. We're coming up on 2 years in April. So it was April 2024.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So are you able to start enacting and doing some different things, or is it still feeling our way around?
Oh, no, we're past that. So the two big objectives we got into the brand, we have a proprietary point-of-sale system, which is also pretty unique in the franchising space, and we have a really, really good one. But we had to fix it. It had just been kind of not a whole lot of updates for about a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So that is fixed, and that is working now. So now we're adding on to it rather than just fixing it. And our website was super dated. We just launched our new website back in November. It's phenomenal. So I love it. So we're done with that, and now we're ready. I wanted to fix those things before taking on new franchisees. We're done with that. So now we're actively looking to grow, and all of our effort, it's not just fixing problems. It's really growing, and just the ideas we have for the future are just crazy.
You said the point of sale system is pretty unique, right?
Yep.
Pretty transferable in the buy-sell environment, or what's different about it?
It's mainly prioritized specifically for disc replay and the stuff that we're buying and selling. So I wouldn't say it could be sent to like a clothing resale shop or whatever. It's very specific to video games, movies, and electronics.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Sorry, my visionary head was going somewhere else. So.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it would be a resale thing other than just our product lines.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yep.
very good, very good.
Yep.
I do love, because there is a concerted effort in, certainly the PE space and others, and other just folks buying the home service style business, right? That can be very good businesses if run well, right, with systems and process and things like that. Are you self-manufacturing fencing, or just purely the sale of and install of?
Currently, we are not self-manufacturing any of our materials. There's some materials that my visionary brain down the road I'd like to be manufacturing, but as of right now, we're not manufacturing materials in this location. Other locations do have some fabrication capabilities, but in Detroit and Chicago, we don't have that just yet.
Okay. So through all of those things, sounds like you're sitting in the visionary seat for all of those. And for those that don't know, for EOS, Bloom, right, there's the visionary and the integrator. They generally not. It's a great place to be where the visionary actually is sitting in the visionary seat,
yes,
and not in the business, right? Again, guilty of getting called that and it being the visionary in a business, but still in the business.
Yep.
Right. And so that is unique, and to be able to fly around and sit in that seat, right, and setting the real vision. You can only do that if you have the right people around you, right?
Yep. 100%.
So do you have, in all those businesses, do you have like you said, you had an integrator? Is it running all the businesses into separately, or are you the visionary for all of them as one integrator, or is it an integrator for each business?
Yeah, great question. So for the retail brands, I'm in the visionary seat, and there's a full-time integrator who fully does all that. Yeah. For the home services brands, I am still in the integrator seat, kind of just getting that system that's newer, and I'm still kind of getting all the plumbing set up. We have a new hire coming in April, though, who I think is really going to facilitate that. And I'm envisioning, he might not know this yet, but I think he's going to be the integrator one of these days. So if he's watching this, that's my plan for you. So I'm kind of working on that. I'm hoping to be there probably in the next year. And then the franchising, this one's kind of fun. It's kind of more of a startup type environment because we're pretty lean at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the integrator box there. So I'm really looking right now. I'm laser focused on the home services, getting that one fully systematized and running, which should be in the next 6 to 12 months, like we do with the retail. Get then the same thing with the franchising model. So I'm not truly just sitting in the visionary of everything. I haven't quite got all there just yet. I just kind of finished getting the retail one automated, 6 to 9 months ago. So
yeah, I was jokingly, and I hope you didn't take it in a bad way, before we started, right, I said, like, you're a freak. Because, right, those that can be visionary and integrator, I mean, that's, true visionaries is like a 0.5% of the population, right, of those that can actually do that. I don't even know the number for those that can actually be like true visionary and still have the discipline to be an integrator in a business.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's why I sit in awe with people like you, because, again, I have visionary tendencies, but the getting stuff done part, I don't have that bone. I just had someone on that does stem cell. Maybe I could grow that bone in my body.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So the business stuff. Thank you for that. And I have a feeling you could do a great deal of teaching and learning how to get to that place, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we'll let it go there if it goes there. But I want to get back to where your passion is on the writing side.
Yep.
I'd say non-traditional writing for what you're trying to get the point you're trying to get across. So let's talk about what's your passion. What are you writing today?
I'm writing a series of fables that teach various soft skills or life skills. As I've reflected because I've met a lot of people on the way, and I feel super lucky I've kind of stepped into the mentor seat for some other people, and I'm trying to think like, do you have any advice? And I remember too, when I was in college, I was finding every successful entrepreneur I could find, and how did you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you do it? And when I look back at what were some of those pivotal moments, in my life that really kind of set me up for success or helped me go down the right path instead of the wrong path. And most of it is not the things that are taught in school. And I'm not against schooling, and like there's a place for it. There's definitely a benefit in there. But I didn't learn how to listen to people in school. I didn't learn how to help people feel understood. I didn't learn how to deal with conflict between friends or family. I didn't learn how to negotiate in school. I didn't learn the importance of delayed gratification and how damaging it can be to just be focusing on instant gratification. I didn't learn how to develop good habits or break bad habits in school. But when I think about where I'm at today, it's my habit of reading. It's my habit of working out. It's my habit of nutrition. Some of the deals that we've negotiated, it's the ability to negotiate. Just most in dealing with human beings, it's developing rapport with people. And how do you do that? It's by listening and not talking over to them, and not just being quiet and listening, but actively listening. Right, like reflecting what they said back and labeling their emotion, like identifying that empathetic awareness with what's going on around us. None of that was taught to me in school, and those are things that I picked up from reading, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and all these books that I was just fortunate enough to read. And when I look at a lot of my employees are Gen Zers or millennials, and I just see a lot of them struggling because they're moving on from high school and moving on through college, and they don't have a lot of those skills just because they weren't really taught. And when you try to learn those by doing, scrolls through social media or TikTok videos or YouTube, you're getting what the algorithms think you're going to watch, not necessarily what's going to provide you the best value. And when you get those little one-liners, and don't get me wrong, the one-liners are great, but like that doesn't really penetrate your mind, right? Like you hear it, that makes a lot of sense, but then a half hour later, it's gone. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you get that deep knowledge penetration. So anyways, bit of a tangent. I'm like super passionate about this. I kind of go off side roads here. So I just feel like in life, whether you want to be a business owner, whether you want to do the cash flow quadrant thing, or whether you just want to go into any field, really, I feel like a lot of people, they want to achieve, success. And success is, it's part financial, it's part health, it's part time. It's a lot of things, right? And we all have different goals. But when I see people who have just kind of reached the top of whatever that is, or seem to have a good blend of health and well-being and mindfulness, like it's people who have those life skills developed. And I think it's getting harder and harder for people to find that path because there's too much information out there. It's like analysis paralysis. So anyways, what I'm really good at is I'm really good at teaching, and I'm really good at reading and learning from a bunch of different disciplines, and then kind of finding the patterns, and then distilling that into simple building blocks that are easy to understand, that are not, it's not about memorizing a bunch of facts. It's about understanding just the laws of nature and the laws of human interaction. And once you understand those laws, when you go into that next difficult conversation, or when you are trying to negotiate to get out of your apartment lease because of something you need to work with the landlord, when you understand the laws, you see everything so differently. And it's not about memorizing scripts or words or remembering. You just start seeing a path forward. So anyways, I'm trying to distill that. I'm trying to create an easy way to absorb that knowledge without having to read a bunch of 300-page, nonfiction books that I found for a lot of, especially some of the Gen Z, it's hard to chew through. Like I freaking loved How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's like a 400-page book. It was written back in the 1920s. And when I give that to a lot of my employees and read it, they're like, it's just too dry, man. I can't get it. You know what I mean? So nothing against those 300, 400-page nonfiction books. Like I've learned tremendous amount from those authors, and there's definitely an audience for them. But I found a lot of people that it just doesn't hold their attention. So anyways, I'm writing a series of short stories that just take, a couple hours to get through. They are told as fables, with the main characters being animals. And it's a really immersive story. It's not just like a loose thing. I mean, I'm going all in. So there's characters people have cried reading the books. They've laughed. I mean, I try to, because whenever we have emotion creates kind of like an imprint in it. Like if you look back in your life of like some of the most important memories, a lot of those are the ones that had some of the strongest emotional ties, right? When were you the happiest? When were you the saddest? When were you this? So my stories are very immersive with very fun plots. You could read them without trying to learn any skills and enjoy the method, with characters that are relatable that you can think about, and situations that just keep you on the edge of your seat the whole way through. So I'm reading super immersive stories that will teach a soft skill. So like I have, my first one is on listening. Second one is on managing teams. The third one is on how to deal with uncertainty and to avoid becoming fragile. And then my most recent one was how to have difficult conversations. So I'm reading these books that are just super entertaining. They're super immersive, so they actually plant a seed in people's minds. So it's not things to memorize. It's not a list of bullet points. It's situations and characters that you can relate to real life. And it helps you learn basic life skills that aren't really taught in school. So super long-winded answer. I don't know if I eventually landed the plane there, but that's kind of what I'm passionate about.
No, it comes out, and I want you to keep going on, because I think that for myself, I've read a lot of business books. I've read. I don't retain them well. Like it's one of those. I'm not great. I love when people will recite something. Well, from so and so and this author. And I'm like, but you don't live it. Like you're reciting the words, but you don't live it. And I think most of us, and again, if in a busy world, like I love it when I can sit down and read a good business book, but it's not long, right? I don't have a space, like, because whether it's kids, whether it's family, whatever it might be, or business, it's hard to really sit in and learn it because my brain is just constantly going off and doing other things. So from the business perspective, I've always loved like Patrick Lencioni, because he can simplify things so well in a fabled format. And so I love that methodology and teaching things very similar. We can go on a tangent on schooling, because I have kids of the age when it's time to, I've got a sophomore in high school and a few more younger below that. And, that hard twist of, I want them to go experience college. I don't think they need to go to college. Like I have a degree. I have a master's degree. I don't apply anything that I learned today in that. Right. It's the real world is what gets me through here and continually moves forward. And the self-awareness things that you're talking about, I didn't have a choice. I didn't get to, for you to be seeing it at an early age and learning through it. I've had to go through a long part of my life, the majority part of my life, not seeing those things. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm lucky, and I think I'm earlier than 95% of the population, right? But still, the practice of, if we could actually teach and show our children early, to your point, I think that's the gold, right?
Yeah, and it's so, there's so many of the things, aside from personal success, just things that we see in society, we're getting more polarized, it's harder to share views and stuff like that, and it's just, I feel like a lot of people just kind of lack in just some of those basic skills, and if we can, and there's just no real way to, no formalized way to present that. So that's what I'm in the process of coming up with a personal brand right now. We're working on a website, but I would like to actually have that be kind of like something that people can do. It's not just, it's like a linear path from start to finish. Hey, you go through this, and here's the various life skill disciplines. We'll give you kind of the 20-80 thing, right? Here's a 20% of the kind of understand the various laws of nature at play, then the principles, what do you do with that knowledge? And then if you want to go deeper, here you go. But I'm trying to create this thing so people can say, okay, so if you want to get a jump start on the life skills, go to this, complete this, and then when you're done, you've kind of got a nice little arsenal to now go succeed at life. Not saying that that's the end of learning, the end of that never comes, but you at least just get a quick little, dose of all the key life skills, so you're aware of it.
Wow. So right now, do you think your books do follow a good path in the order that you've written them?
Good question. I did not. No, I would say no, because my first book is listening, and then I would say the next logical thing would be navigating difficult conversations, because you can't really navigate difficult conversation until you know how to listen and ensure that people feel understood. Right. But my second book that I wrote was managing teams, and I mainly wrote that one because I have hundreds of employees, and I wanted to provide a resource for my own managers to help succeed better. So I would not say the order I've written the books was linear. The intention isn't that way, but I'm finding now the benefit of creating that linear thing, because it's like, I'm thinking that if someone were to come to me, like I have nieces and nephews, so like if a niece or nephew is coming to me, like, hey, I'm graduating high school next year, or graduating college next year, and I feel like I haven't really been set up with the tools to succeed in life. What would you recommend? I don't have a quick answer for that. Like, oh, read books, never stop learning, find mentors. Like I can give you a bunch of ideas and there's a lot of value in those, but it's not like they can start the next day and do it, like, oh, what book do I read? There's millions and millions of books. How do I just find a mentor, But I would like to be like, hey, so the brand that I'm coming up with, it's called the Living Skill Tree. So I would love to be like, hey, go to livingskilltree.com. I would recommend go to livingskilltree.com. There's a linear start to finish thing. It'll probably take you 3 to 6 months, depending on what you do on it. It's very quick. It's very easy to read, and it's done in a way that helps stick with you. I'd recommend go to livingskilltree.com. Go through that courseware. I don't know if I like the word courseware, but go through that. That'll give you a great glimpse into all the various kind of life skills just to get a nice little familiarity with it. Then once you complete that, then you can drill down deep, but then at least you're kind of set with a strong foundation, So I'm trying to make it easier for people to do. And then having it be linear, you can track progress. So if it's just, go read books and never stop learning, that's not really gamified, right? So if I read 10 pages the next day, I feel like I'm not really doing anything. But if it's like, there's these 20 modules and I'll complete one module a week for the next 20 weeks, then I'm done, or 2 modules a week. But you can see that signs of progress. So I'm thinking that'll be something that the younger generations can really kind of latch on to kind of help propel them in life and skip all the time it took me to learn all those things.
Right, because now they work in 30-second increments.
Yes.
Right, of checking this,
Yep.
And again,
Yep.
For my oldest and actually my daughter too, is just a couple years younger. We get so frustrated as parents that they're on their phone all the time. But had I had that at the time, I would be too. I just didn't have that.
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I do it now.
Yeah.
In my version of it versus theirs, right? It's that just instant.
Yeah.
Actual gratification, as you called it earlier, and distilling it in that way, that sounds impactful. So it's ready already. Can I use it for my children?
No, but actually, and maybe this should be after this or whatever. But so my next book that I'm writing, I'm really excited about this. This one's an illustrated book, and it's kind of meant more for a younger audience, so maybe like 14 to 18 or so. But it's actually on the concept of delayed gratification. And I kind of use the marshmallow test as the foundation. Are you familiar with the marshmallow test? Okay, it was a study, or the marshmallow study. I might be misquoting this. I haven't fully whatever. But anyways, I think it was back in the 50s or 60s, they did a test with some kids in kindergarten, and they said, okay, so you can have one marshmallow now, or I'm going to leave, and if I come back and you haven't ate it, I'll give you a second one. So it was kind of on delayed gratification. And supposedly, I have not fact-checked this, and I've heard that maybe this isn't 100% true, but supposedly they kept track of all the kids who took the one marshmallow versus the ones who waited for the second marshmallow, and supposedly 10 years later or whatever it was, the ones who had the delayed gratification, there were just a lot of other markers of success and making better decisions. Regardless of whether all that's true or not, I think it's pretty much universally agreed upon. Delayed gratification is usually a good skill. So anyways, I'm creating an illustrated book. This one just takes like 10 to 15 minutes to read, and it's got really cool illustrations. So I would love to have you be a test reader for that, because since you have kids kind of in that age range, and I would love to see what you think, because I've had several test readers read it, and they seem to be pretty good with I think it's pretty powerful. But I think that concept is a really good thing to learn before you get into college, before you start getting a credit card and start loading it up on credit card debt,
Thanks for qualifying, saying that I had kids versus my mentality as a 14 and 18-year-old.
Yeah, no worries.
With Gary here. That is fantastic, because I love the lesson that you have, all of, yes, diving in to get a business, you got to get it systemized and have to get it right.
Yep.
Like there's that aspect of it. But then setting it up for success by, again, by having those processes and then trusting someone and letting go. And it's not that, I promise I'm trying to not trip over what I'm about to say, that, then you get to go do your passion, right? Once you do that, that is kind of how it happened. Yep. There are also ways that you can actually go live your passion while you're building, again, that type of business. But you had that in mind the whole time, right?
Yep.
So, because I caution people too, no, you can be happy now and still work your butt off and do well in business, while you're trying to figure out how your passions go.
Yeah,
like for me, right? I out of necessity built my business. Out of opportunity, I built my business. But then, like again, you mentioned 5 years ago, and some catastrophic things were happening in business. That was happening with me in the business, and it really just broke me down to a space where, like, wow, I'm not living in my passion.
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. I can relate with that 100%.
Yeah, and lots of people, I allowed a lot of people to suffer. I hid from my business, really. I did what I would not suggest anyone do. But I told myself, we're running on EOS, I'm running on operating system. It can run itself, which is true. Until someone called me and said, I was golfing with someone, telling everybody I was doing great. I'm golfing, and they're like, "Is your business growing?" Oh, no, it isn't. By the way, we're racking up debt like crazy. This is weird. Maybe I should go back and look at something. And
that probably wasn't a fun call or a question to think about.
No, and really, I wrestled with it for a while until I realized I don't have to sit on this sinking ship. We can right the ship while I still go figure out, do what I want to go do.
Yes.
And it was my team that allowed that to happen. They were the ones doing all the work, but I wasn't enabling them in different ways, right?
Yep.
To go do that. Once I did, we've had the best 2 years coming out of it. Debt's
awesome.
wiped clean. Now we're working on an ownership transition plan, and that's great. And they also celebrate me going over here to go do what I want to go do.
Yep.
So
that's awesome,
anyway,
man. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, that's really good. Good for you.
I love the story around that for everyone.
Yeah.
Your story is incredible, and your intentionality about making a difference.
Yeah.
Moving forward. So actually, let's rattle off the name of the books before I get too far ahead of myself.
So the first one is The Dark Fairy, which is a story about listening and ensuring others feel understood. The second one is Journey to Enya, which is a story about managing teams.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is Embracing the Wild, which is a story about anti-fragility. And the fourth one is The Space Between Us, which is a story about navigating difficult conversations.
Awesome. And I'm assuming, what's the best? Is it an Amazon deal or where?
Yeah,
to
Amazon.
find
Yeah, Amazon. If you go to nickleja.com, they're all there. But yeah, just go to Amazon and search for any of them.
All right. Can I swing by and pick them up at your house?
I have free copies in my trunk, actually. I can give you a free
Nope.
copy of each.
Nope. Thank you. Well, if you do, I will give them away. I'll be buying some.
Awesome. Thank you. I
love both of
appreciate
those.
that.
Yeah. And you just made me think of another thing that I would want to mention, the ROI of Why conference. Have you heard of that?
I've not, no.
Again, the ROI of Why is building businesses around why and helping the world. And it just connected with me that you're doing that through your books while using capitalism is allowing you to go do that, right?
Right.
Actually going and doing that. So I don't know, it just connected with me. They have a conference in May, so
that's cool.
I can send you something there. On to the roles, the rest of the roles that we play in life, right?
Yeah.
So all the while, all these businesses, and most people would think, oh, how can you handle all of that and write books? Again, that's in my head. I'm like, wow, because writing is not a skill of mine. You also have a family, right? You have a young daughter.
Yep.
And how has that played out, changed throughout your journey?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind since, so she's just turned 3. So definitely it was a lot to learn about time management. Once I had a kid, things completely entire world gets flipped upside down. So yeah, it's been a learning adjustment. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. I definitely have my times when I'm not managing my time the way I should. But I'm really into mindfulness. I meditate a lot. I'm kind of on an enlightenment journey. Very much into being present in life, whether I'm with my family or at work. Even like as you were telling your story just a little bit ago, you know what I mean? It's just to me, it's so crazy. It's hard to formulate this, but like we're all we're going through this experience of life, right? We're this bundles of consciousness going through this experience of life, and it's just so crazy. It just like you going through those business highs and lows and different highs and lows, and sometimes just like you think everyone's like has it all figured out, and just seeing how relatable everything is and how a lot of the suffering that I've had, I'm sure you've shared, and it's just it's so hard to form, but to me that's just like so like magical and it's mind-boggling. So I really try to be very, very present. So when I'm with my family, I really try to be with my family. I try to carve out time for that, because I always think about it. It's like, okay, when I'm on my deathbed, whenever that is, and look back, I'm sure you've heard this. No one ever wishes they spent more time in the office, But that being said, though, like I do love what I do. It's not like I don't like it. So, but I try to think, I guess, the ROI of why that's sticking in my mind, why I'm doing stuff is, anyways, I really focus on that. Got a little sidetrack. So I really guard my time. I don't work crazy hours. I try to work for like 4-day work weeks. I took a month sabbatical in September and did some traveling with my family for that. So I really guard the heck out of that, because work fills whatever time you allot for it, right? And it's not And usually, especially as you kind of start moving up and have more things you're doing, it's not the things that you're doing that really benefit, that they really move the needle forward. It's the ideas you have. So you need time to think. You need to build that creativity muscle. You need like just walks and sitting in silence for an hour or so and just thinking, you know. So anyways, I really guard my time a lot, which then gives me more time for family. So yeah, I'm really trying to enjoy. My daughter's name is Anya. I'm trying to enjoy the journey, make sure I'm really connecting with her when I'm with her, being super present. And yeah, some business things have slid because I'm protecting my family time, and you know, that's okay. If anything, I'll say, because I've been so disciplined and I don't let work go beyond the bounds that I put for it, no matter how big the crisis is, and I've accepted that if I lose money as a result of not working on over a weekend, then I'm going to lose money, and I'm okay with that. It has made me think smarter, because now I know I will not work on this. So it's not like, okay, well, if this falls through, give me a call and I'll fix this issue for you. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be available to help. So it's made me really double down on the systems, the processes, EOS, make sure I've got the right people in the right seat. So I don't know if I really answered your question 100%, but how am I doing?
You're answering great.
Okay.
Because it's absolutely, it's all about how we transfer, because that's a life change. That's how are we managing it? You're putting, a couple things that I want to come back to. One is, by the way, the beauty of what you've built is if something does falter over here, right? That's part of the building of having other things. So, you know, you're building in some redundancies in a way that, you know what? It's not the end of the world if something falters over here. You've got, you know, other things going. But I want to go back to your what you were talking about with your meditation. What kind of practice do you have?
I meditate daily, or strive to. I'm not perfect. I slip on that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I used the Calm app for a while to get into it. And at first when I sat down, I'm like, no, I can't meditate. Well, first I'm like, oh, meditating is this frou-frou thing, and I'm not going to get into that. Then I'm like, no, it's a real thing. And then I was one of those. And then I gave the excuse, well, my mind's too frantic. I just can't sit down. And then I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna figure this out. So yeah, I use the Calm app to kind of build the habit. Now I love my meditations and I sink into them. But usually I do it first thing in the morning, and I'm trying to add it in at night. I'm not the best at that, but in a perfect world, I'd be meditating every morning, then before I go to bed at night.
What does that mean for you? Because meditation, again, some people are like the same thing. I can't do it.
So for me, meditating is either sitting or my meditation. I'm either sitting or laying down, and I close my eyes, and I just try to focus on the breath, and I try to clear my mind.
About how much time normally?
Minimum 12 minutes, maximum a half hour.
And how long have you been really into the meditation practice?
About 5 years.
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
And so, I mean, obviously it's working, but like if we could help like 6-7 years ago versus today, what do you think it's creating for you?
Crazy. Like completely like life-changing for sure. I think I'm quoting this correctly, but there was a study once when people asked both Warren Buffett and Bill Gates if there was one word that you had to say led to your success, what would that word be? And I believe both of them gave the word focus. And I think that is one of the things that most people struggle with the most. You're talking about phones and distractions, the dopamine rushes and this. I think people lack focus, and I think focus, if people can just master that skill, just so many things come in. Like, I'm guessing you ran into business challenges, and I'm guessing a lot of those times those challenges came when maybe you were distracted with different things. I'll speak from the first person. Most of my business challenges have been when I got distracted by shiny objects, or like I was going here, then I was going here, then I was going here. But whenever I've had a problem and I have been laser focused at solving that problem with 100% accuracy, I have solved that problem. I have never once failed. Almost all my failings in life have been when I got distracted and I lost focus. So, it's kind of like if you take the sun's end, this is like an EOS thing they say a lot. Like if you take the sun's end, if you go outside in the sun has this massive amount of energy. The worst that you're going to get is a sunburn, right? But if you harness all that energy into a single laser beam, then you can cut through steel. I think that's the same way. When we harness our attention and we can just get freaking laser focused on something, just the sky's the limit. But that's easier said than done. Meditation, really what that does is it builds your ability to focus. So if I'm sitting down, the goal is maybe to stick with the breath or whatever, but we all get distracted, right? And I think a lot of people, they'll sit down, or I'll talk first person. So when I first started meditating, I was sitting down. Every time my mind would wander, I'm like, dang, I'm sucking at this. I'm sucking at this. And it's like, no. And I got this from the Headspace app. When you catch yourself drifting and then you bring yourself back to the breath, that's like doing a mental push-up. You're strengthening your focus muscle in your mind. And so whenever you catch yourself drifting, then you bring back to the breath, you're not failing. You did a rep. You should be happy. 1 rep down, 1 rep down. Yeah. So every time I would do that, I kept doing it. And eventually the times that you have to do get smaller and smaller. But by focusing on the breath, anyways, answering the question, the TLDR version, it's like, it really has built my ability to focus and stay present. So it's, and that ability to focus has really helped. So now when I'm in a business meeting and there's this problem and this problem and this problem, this person's upset here, and there's just chaos all over the place, I don't get overwhelmed. Before meditation, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I try to solve this one, but then this person, and then I'm coming over here, then I'm going over there. Then we're 20 minutes past the end of the meeting and we got to go and this person's got to leave. And it's just like, what even happened? Now I'm able to just, if I get overwhelmed, I'll mentally do a quick little 5-second meditation, focus on the breath, get focused, like, okay, we're going to focus on one thing. And it has allowed me to focus, and which allows me to kind of see through the noise, find the most important thing, do it, then the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and make a lot of progress that way. So that, and then I guess 2 things. So meditation, what does that allow me to do? Focus. And then also my anxiety is so much less, you know what I mean? It's because a lot of times like, oh man, am I going to go out of business? Am I going to become homeless? Am I a failure? Is all this stuff I'm going to run out of money and all this kind of stuff? And now I've just learned, it's just kind of like, hey, at any given moment, like, I'm breathing, I'm feeling good. Right now I've got very good health. That's like, I've got a beautiful family, like, yeah, there's going to be stuff in the future. There always will be stuff. I'm never going to arrive at a spot where I'm not worried about the future or nothing could possibly go wrong. Do I want to live my life in a constant state of anxiety? No, it doesn't sound very fun. It's okay. We're okay. We're okay. Just take a breath. So it's really shed a lot of my anxiety and built in my confidence in my abilities. It's like, because I know all I got to do is focus on the right things, and everything's going to be okay.
What a lesson.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in that one. Right. Because when I'm focused, look out.
Right. You can run through brick walls over and over and over. It's just, it's crazy what you can do, but that's so freaking hard to do with just kind of everything around us and all the distractions.
Right. Again, my own self, where I've been traveling the last few weeks and, feeling overwhelmed because in their full days, right? Would be a client session for a full day at a conference or whatever. And then coming back and realizing, okay, what didn't I get done? And then start in the beat up mode of, oh, I should have done all this, And then when I stop and I'm like, all right, I'm going to start on Monday and I'm just going to sit and let what come to me, what I need to go do. And it's amazing. Yeah. Okay, now I can write it down versus like, oh man,
yes,
an overwhelming beat up, right?
It's so healthy. It's so unbelievably healthy.
I want to go back to a word you said too. You said enlightenment. You've been on a journey to that. If you're open to what that's a word that gets used in different ways. So I want to know if you're open to talking through what that looks like for you and how your journey has been.
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, it wasn't a catastrophic business setback, but I had a business setback, and it was pretty big, and I was frustrated. I was having a hard time, and I took some psychedelic mushrooms, and I had just a life-changing, life-altering, paradigm-shifting mushroom trip. And I'm sure if you've read books on that kind of, it's just like, I just felt like the oneness, that we're all connected. I'm completely ego death. I left my body, and I am just like, when I went into the psychedelic trip, my mindset was, okay, I want to find the answer to how to solve this business problem and make more money and yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, okay, mushrooms, we're going to do this. Right. So I took the mushrooms, and I was sitting there in my chair, and I'm just waiting. I'm like, okay, I'm going to solve this business problem. The answer's coming. And then it was just like, like about a half hour in, it was just like, yeah, none of that matters. Whoosh, we're not going to talk about that at all. My ego, and it was just, I saw the light. I guess I don't know how to, so I saw that we're all connected. I went through like my entire life and all the interactions I've had with my mom, my business mentor, my siblings, best friends, exes. And I saw like those conversations, all the body language that I've missed, right? Because like so many, back then my ego was too big. And it was like people were talking, but I'm just thinking about how am I going to respond and what are they saying and all that kind of stuff. And I saw like just the facial reactions of these conversations that I've had. And I really understood my mom at a significantly, because we were business partners and we got really close, but we had a lot of not fun conversations. And like I just saw those conversations, and I'm just like, man, she's such a beautiful person, and just all the anger and the hatred. And hatred is definitely wrong. I've never hated, but yeah, we had a lot of anger towards each other. Yeah, it just melted away, and I'm just like, she's a beautiful person, and I was, very like I saw her, spirit or soul. Like I'm not, I don't subscribe to any religions, but there's our ego, then there's our true selves behind it, whatever you want to call that true self. And I just saw that in like everybody, that I've ever interacted with. And I'm just like, holy moly, like this is just crazy. So yeah, that really, I'm like, okay, there's more to life than what I've been doing. And now that my ego is kind of in the back burner. So to me, enlightenment was kind of like, that, but then how do I carry that into my daily life? So when I live, I'm very conscious of when my ego is the one has control, and then when my true self has control. And I don't think ego is bad, but I feel like I need to be aware of what's happening. So like right now in this particular moment, this is my true self talking to you. You know what I mean? Like this is me being raw and organic. When I'm in a business meeting, my ego's overseeing because we've got problems we have to solve and stuff like that. Both are necessary, but just seeing that difference. And now I feel like I see that, and life is so much more colorful. When I watch movies now, I get so much more emotional when the characters, and not even the movie itself, but like the artist behind it, like I watched The Greatest Showman. I was like almost crying the entire time because it's like there's so much beauty in those songs, and like someone thought of that in the choreography, and they did that because they wanted to not just make money, they wanted to transfer a feeling, right? Like we wanted that feeling of connectedness. It's like, hey, how do I do? And it's just when you think of that, and you're like just like I don't know. So, anyways, that's the best that I can kind of word it.
Thank you for going there, because that word again gets thrown around, and I wanted you to go exactly there. And not a lot of people. Again, I hope it was okay to have you go there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because not everyone is. Actually, most people that go through a journey or do that are comfortable talking about it once prompted.
Yeah.
Because it's not mainstream, or it's not right.
Right.
And I have gone through my own version without drugs, but admittedly, this is something that I want to do, and I actively talk to. I have a friend of mine who is starting as his own, and there's other things with with my relationships that I am so excited and do want to do. And again, in a public forum, my wife needs to be on board.
Yep.
And that's where we're navigating, because of the lack of understanding of what that could be, right? Because admittedly, too, I've done recreational drugs and things through time, and not having control, that's always been my concern.
Yep.
Whenever I go too far, I've been way too drunk or high, whatever. Sorry, mom and dad. I've done those things.
Right.
When I've lost control, right, I freak out, and that was always my concern. And I've talked to so many people that, if I would never trust myself to go chomp on a mushroom and go run around like we would want to do back in the day.
Right. Right.
But on a lead, when in a controlled environment, lead where I don't have to worry about anything else, I'm excited for the rest of my soul to come out and come through as well.
Well, I'm happy to talk to you obviously offline about it, and anything I can do to help with it, because it's a magical experience for sure.
See, I love this. This is what I love about doing this, right? Just because, again, your vulnerability coming through in a public forum like that, it just speaks volumes about you as a human. So
well, thank you. Appreciate that.
So much more grateful that you came on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it.
I do like to, unfortunately, does have to come to a close at some point. I like to, just continue this vulnerability. What's the biggest mistake, failure, misstep, now learning, that you could share with someone that you learned from?
Man, there's like so many. Trying to pick one. We already kind of covered the focus. I mean, almost every business misstep I've ever made, it's always boiled down to a lack of focus, being distracted by shiny objects. It's going to sound corny and cliche, but if I really had to distill it down, it really is not being true to myself in life. I said earlier, the reason I got into business ownership is because I wanted to be a writer, right? So, I opened up a discrete play, then a Plato's, then another discrete play. I achieved the ability to do what I wanted to write. But I got caught up in the game. I got caught up in, I want a big mansion, and I want a fancy car, and I want a private jet, and I want to make more money to make more money to make more money to make more money. And I got caught in the game, and I lost many years by just getting caught in the game. And I was never happy because I always was comparing myself. I was envious of everybody else and what they had achieved. And how much money are you making, and how old are you, and how many more years do I get? I mean, I was just like, it was all consuming. And I wasn't happy. I was just constantly, and I just kind of got caught up into it. So then when I did find myself again, you don't need to do a mushroom trip to find yourself. You know what I mean? There's other ways. Meditating, just moments of silence, thinking, what the heck am I doing in this world? Just asking those questions rather than chasing the dopamine hits, rather than just grinding away. But yeah, I would just say the awareness that there's the ego and ourselves, and just not forgetting about ourselves. And it took me a little bit longer than I would have wanted to have found myself. There's a lot of ways to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, well, and also at a young age, you actually have done it. Again, I'm coming back to not many actually get to that point.
Yeah.
Or they're on their deathbed, and that's when they, when they realize it, right?
Yep.
So amazing. What a session. Thank you so much. How can I help you get your story out? How to connect with you, connect with your businesses, books, all that.
Yeah, I mean, my books are the biggest thing. So, if you know anybody who's familiar with, book marketing, or if you have any contacts, like I would love to do workshops at local universities or high schools, and to people come in and do like a workshop on listening or difficult conversation, give away my books for free. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm really doing this to make more of an impact. I suck at marketing. I am not good at marketing. I don't like marketing. I don't use social media very well. So I feel like I've got really good stuff. I'm just getting the word out there. So anybody you can connect me with, like I said, where I could do workshops or do book signings at bookstores. Once the Living Skill Tree gets launched, any ideas you have or connections you have to kind of help get that out in front of people, that's really what I need help with, because I am not good at marketing at all.
Love it. He's screaming for help, guys. Let's help him.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much. This is a gem.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
All right. That's a wrap.
Thanks for tuning in to The Roll Call with John Glahn. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe for more insightful conversations. Remember, discovering your true role in life is a journey worth exploring each and every day. Until next time, keep defining your path and living your authentic self. This is John Glahn signing off.